The Forum in Los Angeles has hosted many great events in its 24-year history. Names like Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Elgin Baylor, so many others helped put 5 NBA banners in this building. And for those same 24 years, the other team that played here provided little more than frustration for their fans. But 1990-91 has been different. The hockey team won 46 games, and for the first time ever, finished first in the Smythe Division, and will get to put a banner in the building. But in order to complete a banner season, they've become a team on a mission. The banner they want is the Stanley Cup banner, something that could only be accomplished with a good start tonight as the Los Angeles Kings get ready to host the Vancouver Canucks. Happy that you're able to join us. This is a series that a lot of people say the Canucks shouldn't have shown up for.
Well, there's a big difference, Jigs. When you look at the two teams on paper, there is. But, you know, there's an emotional factor in playoff hockey, and that you can't figure on.
And, of course, in any playoff round, you have to take into account goaltending. L.A. has experience. Vancouver doesn't.
Well, 30-year-old Kelly Rudy has a lot of experience. He started 9 of the 10 games that they played in last year. Troy Gamble for the Vancouver Canucks, he's never seen a playoff game.
No, this is going to be some matchup in that area. But Vancouver comes in knowing that they have to contain some people. Number one, of course, would be Wayne Gretzky. He won another scoring title this year.
Yes, Jakes, and it's going to be interesting to see how Vancouver go about that. Not many teams have been able to do it in the past.
Key factor, what do they do with Wayne Gretzky? Vancouver brings along a youngster that we don't know a great deal about. His name is Cliff Ronning. Came over in a trade from the St. Louis Blues. Cliff Ronning has brought speed. He's also brought some scoring to the Canucks.
He's brought scoring, Jigs, and that speed is something they're going to need against this Los Angeles team. 6 goals in the 11 games as he's been a Vancouver Canuck.
So it should be a very interesting matchup. Of course, the second night of the playoffs are underway, and Bob Papa has been in our studios in New York. He'll keep you posted throughout the evening. In fact, when we return, he's going to get you up to date on what's been going on around the other playoff games as the quest for the Cup is underway.
Welcome back to our New York studios. I'm Bob Papa. Let's get you caught up on tonight's first night of Campbell Conference playoff action. Let's take a look at the scoreboard right now in Calgary, Edmonton, and the Oilers tied up at 1 apiece in period number 2. At Chicago Stadium, a wild one. The Blackhawks lead Minnesota 3-2 in the second period. Dirk Graham's goal puts Chicago ahead. And in St. Louis, an upset in the making. Detroit leads St. Louis 4-1. Steve Yzerman, a pair of goals. Now out to the Great Western Forum, here's Jiggs McDonald and Eddie Westfall.
Thanks, Bob. As you can hear, it's noisy in this building. Hockey has become a favorite sport. And here are the Kings on the way from the dressing room. The veteran Larry Robinson.
Marty McSorley, yes, it's exciting to be here and see this kind of noise. People, they've got some kind of hankies, I guess. 99 ways to win the cup. Well, they've got 199. That's a nice way to start the playoffs on the quest for the cup. But, of course, the Vancouver Canucks, something that they're going to try and do more than get into the way of L.A. They're looking for the cup themselves.
A couple of years ago, they came very, very close to upsetting the Calgary Flames in the opening round. In fact, took them to overtime in Game 7 before being eliminated.
These teams have only met once before in the playoffs. That was back in 1982.
Capacity crowd. And a standing ovation for the LA Kings. Let's enjoy it. Well, the team has brought them a long way. A lot of enjoyment this season. And as we said in the open, all that's left is to bring the cup. Anything less, and this great season would be nothing but disappointment again.
Would you please join with
the crowd has asked for prize. Warren Weeby is on hand to honor America and the neighbors to the north.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command, with glowing skies for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
The soloist has been regarded as a good luck charm in the past. That's Warren Weeby. And the folks officiating tonight's hockey game, Terry Fraser in the middle. That's Kevin Collins on the left and Pat DePuzzo on the right, who will work the lines. Terry Fraser, the referee.
In goal this hockey game, opening up with Troy Gamble, the 23-year-older. His last start was the March 28 3-2 overtime win against the Winnipeg Jets to get them into the playoffs. His record on the year, 16-16-6.
Los Angeles alternated goaltenders for much of the season. 30-year-old Kelly Rudy sees some spectacular numbers. 3 shutouts, a 2.90 goals against average. His career in the playoffs, 18 wins, 26 losses. He'll defend the goal to the right, the Canucks to the left. And this game is about to begin as referee Terry Fraser asks Cliff Ronning to back out a little. He wants to check with the goal judge. The off-ice officials are from Edmonton. Referee Fraser still not convinced that the goal judge knows where the switch is, but now the game is underway. Los Angeles starting the Steve Casper line. Casper in the middle. And immediately, Kadelski tests goaltender Troy Gamble. Donnelly moves in after a loose puck for the Kings. Got checked, and Cliff Ronning steps back to the net. Ronning took a look, had nothing open up ahead, but did manage to get the puck onto the stick of his teammate. Jeff Cordnall playing with Linden and Ronning. And Marty McSorley, long pass. Donnelly coming in on goal. Oh, look at the poke check by Gamble.
He's famous for it, Jakes. He does it very well. That's one of the attributes that he carries with him.
Linden brings the Canucks in, testing Rudy with one that was up high. Got it in the elbow area, just up above the catching glove. Little confrontation. General manager at the beginning of the season and now coach.
Yes, he is now. Pat Quinn took over the coaching duties after firing McCammon. 48 years old. He coached here in Los Angeles from 84 to 87. Always likable Pat Quinn.
Jack McElhargy in behind him, one of the assistant coaches.
Troy Gamble, the scouting report on him was that he likes to use his stick, much like Billy Smith. And there, as he pokes it away, beautiful move. If you don't time it well, it can be embarrassing.
Oh, yeah. Pat Quinn was gesturing to the linesman that he felt the play was offside, that long breaking pass up the middle. Larry Arnoff is at center ice for Vancouver. They got the puck back to Diddick, who just shot one wide. Diddick in deep to join the play, turns here on the right wing boards. Kings doing a nice job of coverage. Gretzky, by the way, is on the ice. There's been some concern about Thomas Sandstrom's availability. McIntyre is on this line. It's Granato, Gretzky, and McIntyre at the moment. Some good forechecking here by Vancouver, I should say, heading in this Los Angeles Kings team. And Diddick puts the puck back in the net. They put it in the slot. Diddick with a drive. Rudy, this first big save. Quick outlet. There's Gretzky. One man trying to get back. Gretzky misses on that. Kings have to wait at center ice. They're a little late getting back on side. Now everything's okay. And Sandstrom is out joining Gretzky, so maybe they gave the Canucks something to think about, keeping Sandstrom off this line at the early stages. Lume moving the puck up ahead. Larry Arnoff has dumped it in for the Canucks. That's Dave Capuano going back to the net. But Gretzky over on the right side, feeds it rink wide. Here comes Sandstrom. And saved by Gamble. Breaking the zone is Peter Nedved, his first season in the NHL. The Canucks get turned back. Gretzky starting the rush. Trying to go to the right side. His pass was deflected. Behind the goal, Curvers. Veteran defenseman now with Vancouver. Nedved into the Los Angeles zone. The puck knocked loose, and a quick shot. Rudy to save. The rebound is banged in. The Canucks take the lead. Dave Capuano bouncing on a loose puck.
Puck come back very quickly. Vancouver outside of the shot by Gretzky, a long one, and a breakaway a little earlier. Well, the game is somewhat open. Nedved knocked down, but the rebound off the quick shot by Momesso is put in. Capuano jumped on it quickly. That's Nedved going down. The shot by Momesso, and the rebound gets too far out. Beautiful shot by Capuano. 13 goals during the regular season and a knee injury to go with it.
So quickly, Vancouver gives this Los Angeles team something to think about. Robitaille, Taylor, and LAK now for the Kings. 3 Canucks back as Dave Taylor comes in on the right side. Taken to the boards by Curvers. Robitaille trying to move it back toward the point where Waters was covering, but out come the Canucks. Capuano leads the rush. Waters knocked it away from him. Marty McSorley jabbing at the puck, got it to Dave Taylor. Stitch, as his teammates call him, unable to get into the Vancouver zone cleanly. Doug Lidster ran out left. Canucks turn back. Capuano spotted his defenseman open, gave it to Robert Dirk. Long shot handled here by Kelly Rudy. We're 3 minutes into the opening period. Vancouver leading Los Angeles 1-0. Tommy Webster not coaching tonight. He's sitting out the 3rd game of a suspension. A delayed offside is called. A little scuffle. Cap Raider handles this Los Angeles team in its opening game.
Is there something wrong? I mean, you have this strange look on your face. What do I need to do? Brush more? Get another toothpaste? What?
Tartar Control Crest helps stop tartar where it starts. It penetrates plaque before it hardens for easier cleanings, and more dentists recommend it.
You're smiling. Does that mean less tartar?
Tartar Control Crest. The dentist's choice is the easy choice.
Well, aren't you going to congratulate me?
With the Red Wings leading the Blues 5-1 in the 3rd period, St. Louis gets one back. Off the scramble behind the net, Brett Hull will deflect it. It'll go off the skate of goalie Tim Cheveldae. That made it 5-2. Then the Blues come back. Hull sends it toward the net. Adam Oates beats Tim Cheveldae, and with 6.5 minutes to go in the game, it is now 5-3 Detroit.
And back here in Los Angeles, Bob, we've had a scuffle, a fight as a matter of fact. But Vancouver has already built a 1-0 lead. The goal by Jack Capuano.
Word of the playoff so far is the underdog taking the lead. Vancouver on a rebound makes it 1-0. Here's the fight starting. Miller, Jay Miller for the Los Angeles Kings, got into a tussle with Gino Ojek of the Vancouver Canucks, and Ojek led his team in penalty minutes for the season. Did that in 45 games.
Roughing, the call on Miller according to the board here at the Great Western Forum. Teams are at equal strength, 6 aside, and the Canucks have just dumped it down the ice. Steve Duchesne back for it, and that'll be an icing call against Vancouver.
Gary Fraser, my first thought is that he's quite benevolent. They were throwing punches pretty rapidly. They both get roughing penalties. I don't know what he's going to call a fight. I guess maybe it changes for the playoffs.
The note on Wayne Gretzky, of course, comes into the playoffs this year trailing in the all-time goals scored. His former teammate, Yari Curry, before retiring, put up 92 goals. Gretzky comes in with 89. And Pat Quinn would like nothing more than for this series to keep Gretzky from getting any more goals.
One of the things that Pat Quinn and his Vancouver Canucks have to be sure not to do, and that's to take bad penalties.
Yeah, exactly. And they're talking to some of their players this morning. They certainly have nothing but praise for the Los Angeles power play. Now Casper gets into something here with Cliff running. And immediately, linesman Kevin Collins and Pat DiPuzzo pull them apart. Vancouver, after taking the lead, have been bringing the play to Los Angeles. The Kings responding, and we've had our second scuffle.
It was a simpler time. A time of hope and faith in the future. blue jeans and white t-shirts were in. And people fell in love with the Miata. A ragtop, a two-seater, a true roadster. Everyone seemed to be feeling pretty good. The Mazda Miata. It not only gives you a glimpse of the 90s, it takes you back as well.
Ronning is going off for Vancouver. Steve Casper for Los Angeles. 2 for high sticking and 2 for roughing. So what started out to be a fairly mild game, kind of wide open, has now turned a little nasty. Over in the middle on the upper part of your screen, you can see Ronning get knocked down by Casper. And then I guess that made Ronning mad enough that he wanted a piece of his hide.
Two teams that play one another 8 times during the regular season get together. But Los Angeles, as I mentioned, without Tom Webster, so Rick Wilson and Cap Rader handle the team.
Rick Wilson on the left, Cap Rader in the lighter suit, the gray suit. You know, last year, 22 times during the season they stood in for Tommy Webster. This past season, they did it 5 times, so they're not really strangers to handling the bench.
Webster was assessed a 4-game suspension and a big fine. Tommy is not in the press box. Talking to him before the game, he said he would go to the office. He needs somewhere to pace. Talk about intensity, man. Kings have cleared the puck out of the zone. Igor Larionov back for it. Canucks trying to come up the far boards. The play broken up by Marty McSorley. Centered one, and Kadowski flipped one that went off his stick. Here's McIntyre. Dirk got a piece of him. McIntyre maintained control of the puck. Kings got to it momentarily. Mike Donnelly, who's playing regularly on this line, turned it back in deeper. Lidster sends Linden over center ice. Trevor Linden checked by Waters, and that puts the play offside. And again, some pushing after the whistle. We're 4.5 minutes into the opening period. And a little scrum along the boards as Gretzky has come out for LA.
Kind of looks in and says there isn't anything in there to get troubled about.
Wayne opted not to go on the ice this morning. An option that several of the veterans exercised on the part of the Kings, and only a couple of the Canucks decided that they wouldn't skate today.
Some measured success with Wayne Gretzky and the LA Kings. They cut their goals against down to almost 1 per game during the regular season. Was that sometimes offensive players such as Wayne Gretzky don't like to see that because it cuts their points down. It may have cut down a little in his goals, but it didn't do anything against the number of assists he put up. 122 of them, 41 goals.
Another spectacular year. But the Canucks are leading the Los Angeles Kings 1-0 early in the first period. Robinson waits for Gretzky to turn in the right corner. Now Granato comes off the left wing boards. Soft little pass from Robinson to his defense mate, Steve Duchesne. Kings don't get through center ice on that play. Then Vidic gets checked. Chasing the loose puck is Volk. Duchesne gets knocked down by Volk. Steve Bozak in for checking for LA. Got it for Vancouver, excuse me. Back to Didick. Shot one off the boards. Gretzky's clearing attempt. Deflected, and then Robinson is able to get it to Duchesne, then to Gretzky. Gretzky moving on Lume, puts it in a high slot. They get it back to Robinson for a drive. Tipped and just wide. Sandstrom knew what he was doing. Parked in front of the goalkeeper, Troy Gamble.
Of course, always one of the dangers, Jiggs, is that when you have Gretzky on the ice, you pay so much attention to him, you forget about Tony Granato and you forget about Sandstrom.
Now that line gets a rest. Although Sandstrom stays out on the right side, Todd Ellick joins him. 4 Canucks get back. Sandstrom's shot is blocked. Bringing it out is Dana Merzen. Played it to the goal scorer, Dave Capuano, here in the right wing corner. The puck knocked away from him. Came back toward the point for Curvers. In deep. Look at the save by Rudy. Good shot. Quick shot by Peter Nedved. But Robitaille has found Ellick open on the left side to Robitaille. He couldn't get a shot away. Merzen was right with him. Robitaille fired one that hit the side of the net. Ends up in the corner. Peter Nedved for Vancouver clears the zone. The puck bouncing off Brian Benning, and the Kings go back for it. Now they'll come out on that right side, and again quickly, 3, make it 4. Vancouver Canucks are back, but things open up for Taylor, and he just shot one that was turned aside. They set up Waters here at the left point. In around the boards to Luke Robitaille. Taylor standing in front. The pass across the front of the net. Waters holds it in. Taylor just now back on his skates as Robitaille sets up in the corner with a pass to Taylor. Into the near corner for Todd Ellick. Put one out in front. That's broken up by Linden. Dougie Lidster for Vancouver. Finds a man open on the left side. That's Momesso, and Taylor is there to knock it away from him. Now the Kings try to get over the line. Gretzky out there with a pass to Taylor. The play broken up. The Vancouver Canucks come to center ice. Nice play by Trevor Linden. He found Momesso open. Linden heads for the front of the net. The pass into the slot. The backhander. They score! Igor Larionov. It's 2-0 Vancouver.
Beautiful goal setup. The unexpected go to the other player as Linden led the rush. Larionov was very late coming across the blue line. 2-0 Vancouver over the Los Angeles Kings. I think the Kings were in midst of the change. Coming up the ice with the puck was Momesso. Rather than go back to Linden, he fed it to Larionov, and he pulled it, held it, and then after Kelly Rudy had committed himself so far, he slid it into the open side of the net.
Momesso and Linden will get assists on the goal. Coming at the 7-minute mark. Another look.
That's Gretzky on Linden, and that allows Larionov. He was unchecked. He was a good 25 feet behind the play. Beautiful pass from Momesso.
Getting a taste of Stanley Cup playoff hockey for the first time. The Soviet playing at center ice with Linden and Cordnall. Got a broken line out there for that goal, but now they've got them together. Linden with a shot. Turned aside by Rudy. And then by Cordnall. The Kings trying to flip it out of the zone and succeed. Chasing it back is Didick. Donnelly moving it on him. Didick turns it up the boards for Lume. Lume to Trevor Linden. Gets away from Gretzky. Across the LA line. Looks for Larionov, who heads for the front of the net, and the pass is blocked by Waters. Waters and McSorley on defense. Donnelly, Kudelski, and Gretzky up front for Los Angeles. The white-clad Kings trying to move up the boards. McSorley put it behind the net. We have 12 minutes remaining in the opening period. The Kings down 2-0 have dumped the puck on into the Vancouver zone. That'll get a player change for LA. Gerald Didick handling the puck, gave it to Jay Mazer, then up ahead. Into the zone with it is Bozak. He gets checked, and Gretzky comes down the right side. They surround him quickly. Nice pass. A quick shot from Robinson is deflected. And brought back here by the Vancouver Canucks. Jay Mazer across the line, fed it to the left side. It was broken up. Gretzky bumps Mazer. Up with it is Sandstrom. Two men back for Vancouver. Sandstrom waits, gets some help. Duchesne moves in. Sandstrom scores!
Blast by Thomas Sandstrom, using one of his teammates as a decoy. That's Duchesne and Gretzky. Finally, Sandstrom grabs the puck, leads the rush. He looks up ice for his options, decides to bring it across the blue line. That's Duchesne as he heads for the net, but the long shot goes between the legs of Troy Gamble.
Wicked shot by Thomas Sandstrom at the 8:33 mark. Vancouver 2, Los Angeles 1.
Troy Gamble had looked pretty cool through the first and early part of the first period, but that long shot went between his feet.
Now the Canucks trying to come out 4-on-3. Momesso brings them into the zone. Long shot from Lume just missed the net. The Kings. Ellick leads the rush with Taylor and Robitaille joining the play. Ellick cuts it off the wing. Can't slip it under Gamble. Ellick, after a loose puck, centers one to Taylor. Dirk is on him. Third time of Dave Taylor as Ellick goes for a loose puck. Feeds the blue line. Blake with a drive. Pad save. The Canucks start out of the zone. Momesso with it at center ice. Crisscrossing here and on into the Los Angeles territory. Puts it back to the net. Capuano went in. Now Didick gets to the puck. Capuano well covered. The LA Kings come away with it. Blake is knocked down from behind. Play allowed to continue. Sergio Momesso waits for the puck. Trying to slip it out in front. Rudy turns it toward the corner. And Todd Ellick slaps it out of the zone. Jay Miller moves up the boards. But quickly, the Canucks get back on the play. Lume and Diddick, the defense combination for Vancouver. McSorley is out with Brian Benning on the Los Angeles defense. This is Benning. Shot it down the board. Jay Miller will chase it. Miller gets there first. Unable to center it cleanly. And the Canucks trying to break the zone. Waters broke up the rush. And Volk gets turned back at the Los Angeles blue line. Here's John Tonelli. Spun off the check of Volk. Makes the pass to McSorley. McIntyre drives to the front of the net. McSorley can't get the puck to him. Into center ice. Gino Ojic puts the puck into the Los Angeles zone, and the Canucks go for a player change. 9.5 minutes remaining in the opening period. 2-1. Vancouver leading the LA Kings as the puck goes out of play. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching Sports Channel America's exclusive Stanley Cup coverage.
Enough shots aside, I wouldn't mind playing with him. I understand he's a wonderful guy. He's a great Kings fan. He's here regularly. That's Craig Stadler from the PGA Tour.
And not one of the Stadler... No, that's a bad joke. The Walrus. Yeah, he's been a big hockey fan for, well, I guess since Wayne came to town, but a long, long time. The Kings trailing by a score of 2-1. Robinson out on one side of the defense. Lead pass up the boards here on the left side. Donnelly cuts in. Center. They score!
The fourth goal of the hockey game for Jeff Cordnall. He can score, but he did not check well. He allowed the player from Los Angeles to get in behind him. Here come the Kings. That's Donnelly as he grabs the puck there with the pass across. Gamble holding the goalpost. It's in the net. A 2-2 tie. Bob Kudelski got in behind Cordnall.
Kudelski's goal at the 10:42 mark. Brand new game, 2-2. Delayed offside being called. We welcome those of you who have been watching the game between the St. Louis Blues and the Detroit Red Wings. As you see, a 2-2 tie. Vancouver got off to a quick lead. Capuano and then Larry Arnoff making it 2-0. Sandstrom and Kudelski have scored for the Kings. Kudelski just a moment ago on a nice pass from Donnelly.
Donnelly makes the play. There's Kudelski. Got in behind his check, Jeff Cordnall, and was able to tap it into the open side. Troy Gamble having to hug the goalpost, thinking Donnelly may shoot it.
Casper drew an assist on that goal as well. He's out on the ice just now with this line intact. Kudelski on the right, Donnelly on the left. Robinson and Duchesne on defense. The Canucks break the zone. This is Trevor Linden. Nice pass to Cordnall, but he can't get around Duchesne, who's cleared it out. Dirk and Lidster back for Vancouver. Doug Lidster handling it here. Gave it to Dirk. Now to Linden. Linden over the line, quickly surrounded on the play. The puck knocked loose. Didn't get it to Gretzky on the initial effort, and now Linden goes in after it. Check behind the net. Steve Duchesne plays it up the boards, but not out of the zone. Diddick to Larry Arnoff. Into Cordnall. Cordnall trying to center. Linden feeds Gerald Diddick. Lets a long shot go. Cleared aside by Rudy, and Gretzky is there to turn it up to Sandstrom. And again, the Canucks get back. But the Kings have the puck. A backhand shot up high by Kudelski is grabbed and held by Troy Gamble. Pat Quinn saw his Vancouver Canucks get off to a quick lead, and then all of a sudden the speed And the puck movement of the Los Angeles Kings turned things around for them.
A lot of emotion, too, when you're the Los Angeles Kings starting at home the way things are here. Of course, Pat Quinn, no stranger to coaching pressure games. He coached the Philadelphia Flyers to the finals in the 79-80 season and saw the New York Islanders win their first Stanley Cup.
And a look at the Los Angeles bench. On the bench tonight, Rick Wilson and Cap Rader. Tom Webster suspended. He will not be able to coach here Saturday night either. When the series resumes in Vancouver next week, he will be coaching. Recognize that face? The actor James Wood. Which comes up. I like it. Vancouver has to like that save by Troy Gamble.
Can slowly see the Los Angeles Kings regaining some of the composure they lost. There's something about starting a hockey game. I was telling you earlier about how high the emotions get, and there's a point where you can get too high and you just don't operate well. There's actually Vancouver win the draw, but they hand it back to Brian Benning, and his shot kicked away. Gamble finally grabs the rebound from Thomas Sandstrom.
At one stage in this period, Vancouver was out shooting Los Angeles 6-3. It's now the Kings 11 shots, the Canucks 8, excuse me. The game tied 2-2. Just under 8 minutes remaining in the opening period. Vancouver trying to come up through center ice, but a bad pass, and they'll have to chase the puck. Kings get across the line here. Look out, Sandstrom checked at the last second. Mazur clears it into the center ice area. Benning feeds it up toward Gretzky. Erzin was there to knock it away from him. So the Canucks recontrol. Steve Bozak sidestepped the check, got it on to Larry Arnoff's stick, and he puts it back in the net. Crunched on the boards is Jay Mazur. Here comes Gretzky. Sandstrom is with him. They crisscross at center. And the pass right on Sandstrom's stick. He cuts in. Can't give the Kings the lead. Now a long shot sneaks through, and Gamble down has covered the puck and held on. The stick came up in the face of Benning, but he appears to be okay. The game is tied 2-2.
Extra strength Rolaids antacid. Stronger because it has more calcium carbonate, more than any Tums tablet, and salt-free. More calcium carbonate and salt-free. This settles it once and for all.
How about a better hand soap? Not us, we can't cope. We don't need no lava soap, no. Regular soap won't always work, but lava with pumice will. Interested? No, no, no. Lava, but don't try to cope without it, soap.
Troy Gamble, 23 years old, his first ever playoff game. Kelly Rudy on the right side, 30 years old, experienced in playoff hockey.
Both played in 47 games this season. Sandstrom cutting in on Gamble. Pointed out earlier in the game, he likes to make that poke check.
He uses his stick effectively. Learned that in junior hockey. Minor pro, Milwaukee Admirals.
Here's Robitaille sneaking back to the Canucks goal. Got it to McSorley. He misfired on it, and quickly the Canucks come through center ice. Bomesso. Toronto drove to the front of the net, but Bomesso is checked by Waters. Taylor backing up the play, nudged it up the boards. Here's Alec. He had Robitaille through center ice. And Alec couldn't control it. McSorley gets it over the line. Made it around behind the net. There's Dave Taylor. Now Dave Taylor trying to get it to Todd Alec, and nothing happened. So the Canucks come out through the center ice zone. Toronto has played it deeper into the Los Angeles end. Bomesso puts it in the high slot. It comes back to Lume. Cruises in and shot it wide. Tim Waters, the veteran defenseman, finds Robitaille. There's trouble getting it out of the zone. Waters flips it up in the air. That'll do the job.
One of the areas that the Vancouver Canucks have been successful at so far, Jiggs, is down in deep, feeding the puck back to players coming in late.
He used it very effectively. Forechecking there. Volk knocked it loose. Didick has it turned up through center ice, and the Canucks take over again. 2-2 is the score. Just under 6 minutes remaining in the opening period. That's Lume. Puts it in front. Nothing doing. It came right back to Didick. The shot from the near wing was turned aside. It was Murphy for Vancouver. Now the Kings tip it out toward the center ice area. Jurke Lume. Tipped up from behind. Play continues. Larry Robinson clears the zone. Just out in a player change, Tom Curvers turns it up ice. Murphy gets checked at the Los Angeles blue line and then has to go back for it. Bob Murphy, the 21-year-old, out for Vancouver, playing on this line with Volk. And they're going to change up. Robinson handles the puck. The oldest player in the NHL comes through center ice. Shoots it around the boards. Slowed up by Gamble. Curvers gets to it. Played it off the boards right to Robinson, to Kudelski. Turned, and his shot is blocked by Curvers. Now Curvers is checked. 2-on-1. Donnelly to the backhand. Oh, and he couldn't beat Gamble.
What a mistake by Curvers right in front of his own net. What a mistake by the Kings not to put it in.
And now they get back in, and Trevor Linden can't handle the pass off the boards from Cordnall. Robinson dumps it down the ice. We're going to get a whistle for an icing call. The Kings have every right to be up in this game instead of being tied. They've had several good scoring opportunities after getting even with Vancouver.
Dressing up, stepping out. If you're talking about fun, that's what it's all about. Shake it up, whoa, whoa, put it on, check it out.
When you're in a place where the beat goes on, you don't want to fill up. So reach for the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
We're talking about good, like it's the right beer now. Check it out, check it out.
Stanley Cup 1991. The action is right here on Sports Channel, coming to you from the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California. Another sunny, bright, beautiful day.
Yes, and they've got the Forum all prepped up, too. There were painters all around here yesterday, covering up any little spots here and there, up high, down low.
Vancouver winning the draw. Lidster's shot turned aside by Rudy. Well, Steve Bozak dumps it in deeper. Rudy plays it up the left wing boards. Larry Aronoff had that area tied up. But the Kings control it. Benning with a pass off the skates of Rob Blake, and the Kings have to go back. Benning and Blake on defense. Gretzky is out with Sandstrom and Tony Granato. Granato brings the puck into the Vancouver zone. Got flattened. Oh, did he run into a check from Dirk?
Good check. Good stand-up check in the open ice. Hard guy to hit, Tony Granato.
Kings with it again at center ice. That's Wayne Gretzky. Benning loses his footing. Dirk, the defenseman, leads the rush. They got it in front, and the backhander went wide off the stick of Bozak. Benning trying to move it out of the zone, could not. Jay Mazur shot one around the boards, and here's Benning. This time he gets it out of the zone, and Gretzky gets to it at center ice. Sandstrom trails him as he cuts to the right side. Gretzky, check, recovers at center ice. Now 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the opening period. What will he do? 99. Kept the play onside, but then turned the puck over. And Sergio Momesso dumps it in on behalf of the Vancouver Canucks. Off the heel of Rudy's stick as he went back of the net. Kings trying to come out. Waters found an opening and cleared the zone, but Lume backs up with it here. Resets the play for Vancouver. Two Kings on him, Robitaille and Alec. Robitaille knocked it down, but then couldn't regain control.
So many times, Jiggs, Vancouver making those dangerous kinds of plays inside their own blue line. Rink-wide passes.
So far, they paid the price but once. Now they bring the play on into the Los Angeles zone. They got McSorley turned around late. Rudy makes the save on that hard shot. Todd Alec with Taylor starting out. Robitaille moves through center ice as Taylor handles the puck. He shot it from his own side of center ice. The reason for the whistle is an icing against the Los Angeles Kings. Still 2 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the first period between the Canucks and the Kings.
And you're out all night long playing around.
Playing, Mama, playing.
Now you're always on the street.
On the road, Mama, on the road.
Hanging out with that bad crowd.
They're called the bad boys.
Now you say you're gonna work it out.
Work out, Mama. I'm going to work out.
Mama, I'll be okay. Got my gel.
Who is Jill?
My Asics gel.
Asics Gel Cross Trainer.
Isaiah, don't forget your shoes.
Troy Gamble has been bailing his Vancouver Canucks out regularly in the last few shifts. Some bad mistakes. Curvers gave the puck away. And Los Angeles trying to finish off the play with that backhand shot by Mike Donnelly. He's had 2 or 3 good scoring chances in the first period.
McIntyre is out with Tonelli and Miller for Los Angeles. Murphy out there for Vancouver. The Canucks regain control of the puck only to lose it. And here's Miller spotting Tonelli. Tonelli trying to cut through the defense. Gets checked at the last second. Curvers reached in to control the puck. Canucks coming up 3-on-2. Murphy with a pass into the slot. Rudy a stretching save. Good shot. Fine shot by Gary Volk. Miller clears the zone. And it's shot right back in again by Dana Merzen. Merzen, another fine acquisition for the Vancouver Canucks at the trading deadline. The 24-year-old defenseman coming over from the Calgary Flames. Ronnie Stern, Kevin Guy going to Calgary in that deal. And here's the pride and joy of the Canucks. Trevor Linden with a shot that takes off. It's deflected by Benning and goes out of play. And the clock now is down to 1 minute and 29 seconds remaining in the opening period. The game is still a 2-2 tie.
For the first time in history, the compact pickup ranked most trouble-free was also ranked highest in truck customer satisfaction. Mazda, a truck so tough, we guarantee it long enough for a trip around the world. Twice. Oh-ha! Mazda trucks, guaranteed tough.
It just feels right.
Jakes McDonald and Ed Westfall with you from the Great Western Forum. Late in the first period, 2-2 the score. Cliff Ronning is at center ice for Vancouver. Linesman Kevin Collins backing up Marty McSorley from the edge of the face-off circle. Finally, the puck put in play. The Kings won the draw, and McSorley took a look at Linden, moved it up ahead. This is Donnelly. Got it across the line, but back for Vancouver, and trying to clear it out was Dirk. The play was offside to begin with. Delayed long enough and then whistled down by the officials.
Vancouver during the regular season 11-20-1 in their Smythe division.
So we're late in the first period. We're going back for an update to our studios in New York. Let's check in with Bob Papa.
In period number 3 at Chicago Stadium, Minnesota gets the equalizer. Sean Chambers over to Neil Broughton. Broughton gets his second goal of the game. In period number 3, Chicago and Minnesota are tied up at 3 apiece.
A lot of us said, Bob, that would be a long series, and Minnesota showing that they're very much alive in game 1 tonight.
A lot of similarities, too, with the way that game started in Chicago. Roenick had scored a few seconds into the game. Minnesota tied it up. Dirk Graham took a 5-minute major charging penalty on Sean Casey. Minnesota took a lead. Wilson with a bullet tied it up. Same kind of a story here, where Vancouver had a 2-0 lead, and LA is now tied the score at 2.
We're not under a full moon or anything, are we? Could be. When you look at the upsets around the NHL, the first 2 nights, the playoffs, 1991, you have to wonder what's going on. And of course, Vancouver got it started here with a 2-0 lead quickly over Los Angeles. Kings have come back to tie it. And we have less than a minute remaining in the opening period. Lidster, the captain of the Canucks, has cleared the zone. Larry Robinson played it away from Linden. And Benning spots Donnelly here on the left side. He goes cross ice. That's Casper. Took a hit and dumped the puck in deep. Vancouver Canucks led here by Jeff Cordnall to Cliff Ronning. Back to Cordnall on the left side. He got Duchesne back in. Nice play by Duchesne. Kadowski couldn't clear the zone. This is Ronning. Boy, he can dance on those skates. Centers, and Cordnall scores!
20 seconds before the period ends. What a blast by Jeff Cordnall. The work done by Cliff Ronning. And they're at it again. The acquisitions that Vancouver made at the trade deadline. Look at the job by Ronning as he fights off a check, passes it across, and one-timing it into the open side of the net is Jeff Cordnall.
Each one of the Vancouver goals in this period has been orchestrated or finished by a player acquired in the deal from the St. Louis Blues. Momesso has a couple of assists, and now Cordnall and Ronning combined with, as Ed said, 20 seconds left in the period.
Boy, and you think back to the Winnipeg game, Jakes, the ones that put them into the playoffs, they were trailing 2-0. Momesso, Ronning, and Cordnall all scored to win the game.
The trade has paid dividends.
Well, a wide open period here at the Great Western Forum. It's a 3-2 Canuck lead.
Something to think about. Period number 1 coming to a close with the score. As Ed said, the Canucks 3, the Kings 2, and we pause now for a regional break. You're watching Sports Channel America's exclusive Stanley Cup coverage. Vancouver Canucks lead the Los Angeles Kings 3-2. We're at the end of the first period. And the veteran Los Angeles Kings player Dave Taylor joins us. Dave, a very quick start for that Vancouver Hockey Club.
Yeah, Jiggs, they come at us pretty good. I thought through the first period they were catching us. They were spreading us out. Our forwards and defense were not together, and I think we had a couple of bad line changes, and they came over the line, hit the late guy, and got a couple of nice goals.
Yeah, we were surprised upstairs here. Also surprised with the way Vancouver had a tendency to turn the puck over in their zone a couple of times.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of that. What we want to do is play our game and get in and forecheck a little more than what we have been doing. And when you do that, you're going to create some opportunities in their zone. Hopefully we can put them in the net.
Must have been a great feeling at the end of the season to finally be on a first-place finishing team here in L.A.
Yeah, that was nice, Jiggs. It's been a long time coming for myself, a long time for the Kings organization. And, you know, for us to finish first overall, we're all pretty happy with that. But we realize it's just one step. We'd certainly like to carry it a lot farther here in the playoffs.
Tell me a little bit about the preparation for this series. You weren't in Los Angeles, huh?
No, we went up to Arrowhead. It's about a 2-hour drive just up into the mountains here, and we went up there just to get together as a team and, you know, try to get some unity, work on some things, look at some of the tendencies of the Vancouver Canucks. Last year we did the same sort of thing when we played Calgary. We went up to Banff for a couple of days.
Dave, thank you. Good luck to the Los Angeles Kings. The Vancouver Canucks leading 3-2 at the end of the first period. Welcome back to the Great Western Forum. Second period about to begin. Cliff Ronning wins the faceoff from Steve Kasper. And McSorley loses sight of the puck. The Canucks had a chance set up but couldn't get the pass in front of the net in time. Now Kasper brings the LA Kings to the Vancouver line. Got checked there. That's Ronning. Kasper missed the check. Ronning is over the line. Linden goes for a loose puck. McSorley closes in on him. Here's Ronning stepping from back of the net. Couldn't center it. Vancouver Canucks applying early pressure. Now the Kings break the zone. Donnelly, the kid out of Michigan State, over on the far side, dropped the puck back, and Waters went to Kasper. Kings unable to get over the center ice zone at the moment. McSorley gives it to Waters. Waters plays the puck off the boards on into the Vancouver zone. They're going to rule that the Canucks could have played it, so there won't be an icing call. Linden, one time he get down into the Los Angeles zone. Canucks in the middle of a change. The Kings spotting that come up the far side, but Vancouver completes the change in good fashion.
Vancouver's trying to take the center ice area away from the Los Angeles Kings, Jakes. In the first period, the things that got things going for Los Angeles was that area. They were able to pick up loose pucks.
Now Dave Taylor going back to that LA goal. Lost the puck. Igor Larionov comes out on the right side. He and Bozak crisscross. Bozak gets the pass, steps around Duchesne, holds it, shoots. Rudy got enough of that to make the save. Bozak, who once played for the Los Angeles Kings, beaten there. Bouncing puck goes to Robinson, up to Ellick. Ellick trying to knock it away from Diddick. Good job by Gerald Diddick. Gets it back in the net. Bozak puts it out. It's tipped to the side. Comes to the blue line for Diddick. He spots Bozak moving back of the Los Angeles goal. Can't center it again. Todd Ellick puts the puck behind Robinson. Up the right side to Taylor. He was looking to make a player change and ran into Lume. Now Robinson nudges it into the Vancouver zone. That's Ellick trying to cut in on Diddick. It's centered in front and steered aside by Gamble, and we're going to get a penalty call. Gretzky takes control of the puck. It's checked. And as Lume handles it, Vancouver runs into a holding penalty, setting up the very first power play of this game.
The Xerox Total Satisfaction Guarantee is one of the 10 most significant events in the history of the plain paper copier industry.
Significantly better than that of any of its competitors.
The Xerox Total Satisfaction Guarantee. When you put together better products and services, you can put together a better guarantee.
A consumer's dream. Putting it together.
Faxing, scanning, copying, printing. Xerox, the document company.
First penalty, or I should say first power play, not the first penalty. Ellen makes a couple of good moves deep in Vancouver's end of the ice. Larionov makes a grab. Look at the stop here by Kelly Rudy. Never knew he made it. His left arm stretched out. Goaltenders will throw anything they can out there, knowing the puck is coming. He got his arm in the way.
And this is an area that Vancouver wanted to stay away from. The reason being, right there on the screen, as you saw, the LA power play is potent. And the Vancouver penalty killing, 18th in the league over the regular season. LA power play scored 10 times on 38 chances games against the Canucks, and Gretzky has the puck. The pass was tipped, however, and the Canucks pushed the Kings down the ice.
It'll make it hard, too, Jake, for the penalty killers in Vancouver. They've got pretty good shooters on the point positions for Los Angeles.
Exactly. Here's another good shooter, Granato up front. He's out there with Sandstrom and Gretzky. Curvers got it around the boards, held in. Benning sets up Blake. Blake a big drive. They actually passed it off and missed Granato. He had the stick cocked. Looked like he was going to test Gamble. He spotted Granato, couldn't get it to him. Now Gretzky, one touch to Sandstrom by Granato. Sandstrom, a wicked shot, is just wide. And again, the Canucks are successful in their clearing effort.
Good sign of the strength of Thomas Sandstrom. The way he shoots the puck. He does not have to cock his leg, get ready, set the puck up. He just fires it.
Here's another kid that can shoot the puck. Rob Blake, number 4, handling it here with a pass to Robitaille. Back to Blake. Blake trying to swing around the tight checking of Mazur. Managed to get it to Gretzky to the point. Duchesne can't handle it. Resets the play at center with a pass to Blake. Now up to Taylor. Gretzky cuts toward the net as Robitaille gives it back to Taylor. Gretzky goes back to the net. Untouched the puck, but couldn't find anybody open. Now he has it again. Kings have not had a shot on goal. They've shot it at the net. And there's a jam in front. Taylor can't get it by Gamble. And the Canucks come to center ice. Bozak is in across the Los Angeles line. Picked up by Duchesne's check. Forced him back to the net. Bozak taps it toward the open corner, but Alec is there. 8 seconds, all that's left in the LA power play. It's managed only one shot on goal, Ed.
One of the things that the Vancouver Canucks have been able to do, and here, look out here, Robitaille left in front of the net.
And Gamble doing just that, gambling well up above the goal crease, managed to stop the puck. The goal was off the magnets anyway.
It's kind of mixed emotions because Vancouver trying to cover the 2 laser beam shooters from the points in Duchesne and Blake. They tend to leave a little more area open down low near the net where Gretzky loves to operate. Gretzky had the puck. Here you see him looking for his option, and he passed it. Taylor tried to deflect it. Whether he did, and it was a save by Gamble. Everything happening in so closely, it was hard to tell.
Nice line in the Los Angeles Times this morning by Alan Malamud. 60 reasons why the Kings will win the Stanley Cup. One of them, Gretzky is passing better than even Magic Johnson.
And one of the other ones he had was John Tonelli needs a ring for his thumb.
I like that. Well, here Vancouver is a 3-2 lead over the Los Angeles Kings. Other action around the playoffs tonight. Let's get an update. Back to the studios. Here's Bob.
We will take you back to Los Angeles in just a minute. 50 seconds to go at Chicago Stadium. Blackhawks and North Stars are tied at 3, and we'll take you to Chicago Stadium.
Blackhawks get possession. Creighton won the draw. Manson dumped the puck in. Mark Tenorti for Brian Bellows. Chris Dahlquist up to Dahlin, and the North Stars get out to center. Bobby Smith crisscrosses with Bellows, who's knocked down but is onside. Smith bumped by Creighton. Chelios gets the puck. Chelios trying to lead the rush. Got by 2 North Stars and dumped the puck in. Chambers is back. Hit by Thomas, but he made the play to Brian Bellows. At center. Dumped over the line by Jim Johnson. Murray has the puck. And it looks very much like we'll see overtime. For the first time in the National Hockey League playoffs, it's overtime, and it's the Minnesota North Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks.
Thank you, Jim Houston and Gary Green. We'll keep you posted on the outcome of the Blackhawks and North Stars. Now we take you back to the Great Western Forum. Here's Jiggs McDonald and Eddie Westfall.
Well, Bob, this Vancouver team very inspired and had the LA Kings back in on their heels until just now. And Miller hits the Kings into the Vancouver zone, then it's rubbed out by Lidster's check. Throws it long enough for a face-off. Miller with a little tap. Now a push for Doug Lidster.
See Lidster turn around and tell Dirk, get away from him. Don't go near him. We don't need to take foolish penalties. Part of our game plan not to do that. Dougie Lidster played in 78 hockey games this season. Another look at the coach, general manager, president, Patrick Quinn.
After losing his job at Philadelphia in the 81-82 season, relieved with only 8 games left in the season, he went to law school and then surfaced here in Los Angeles to coach in 84-85, got his degree, his law degree. He's never practiced it except when it comes to signing players, I guess.
If you need it. I suppose working with agents, you sometimes need it. 9-year veteran, a player, 9-year veteran of the league. Played with Toronto, Vancouver, and Atlanta.
Over his career, tested the rules of the National Hockey League, both the playing rules and the constitution of the league. Tampering, the league felt. Half of the Vancouver Canucks. Oh, look out here, Murphy for the Canucks. Trying to cut in. McSorley got back to rub him out. Some shoving and pushing in front of the LA goal. Loose puck tipped by Gretzky. Brought out by Sandstrom, 2-on-1. Backing up is Berzin. Sandstrom right into Gretzky. He scores!
You're going to make a mistake. Don't make it when Gretzky's on the ice. Sandstrom with him. Now we've got confrontation. Granato is getting a wave. There's the pass by Thomas Sandstrom. Wayne Gretzky does not need 24 square feet of net to put it in, but that's exactly what he had. Troy Gamble has to hold. It looks as though Sandstrom was going to shoot. Then he made a perfect pass. What a beautiful pass to Gretzky with Marty McSorley trailing the play.
Stanley Cup playoff goal number 90 for Wayne Gretzky. First in this playoff round, as you see. He has an assist tonight as well.
Thomas Sandstrom getting one of the assists. He has been everywhere. There's Sandstrom. You've got to hold when he's ready to shoot. Gamble knew it, but the pass had to be perfect, and it was, and Gretzky finished it.
And then a little confrontation. Gino just back in the Vancouver lineup. The tough kid out of junior hockey. Gino Olczyk got involved with Tony Granato. They each get 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. So the game is tied 3-3. Duchesne and Robinson on defense for Los Angeles, and the LA player moving up was Donnelly, spilled into the goal mouth. Referee Kerry Fraser is pointing to the area outside the blue line, only for an ensuing face-off. There is no penalty here.
He gets upended as he went into forecheck. There, Donnelly gets tied up with Irke Lume. Donnelly ends up in the net. Boy, he had the scoring chances in the first period for the Los Angeles Kings. There's Lume as he trips. Donnelly jumped.
Now, if Ben could score, forget the puck. If Ben could score, that's a chunk out of hockey, the lighter side, put together a few years ago. Scoring men, scoring players. That one should make it. Donnelly for 1991. Duchesne wraps the puck around the boards in the LA zone. Donnelly gives away. Lume shot is blocked. Here's Duchesne leading the rush through center ice. Casper up ahead of him. Duchesne, nice job. Got it to Ketelski. A shot blocked. The rebound. The score!
Who said it had to be the Gretzky, the Sandstrom, that score goals for the Los Angeles Kings? How about Steve Casper? Turning quickly along the boards. What a beautiful pass. That started things for Los Angeles. There's Casper as he steps in. Donnelly carried the puck to the front of the net. Gamble tried to kick at it, missed it, and Casper blasted it in.
Lumet had been caught up ice. And Steve Casper, 38 seconds after Gretzky had tied the game, the Kings have their first lead. Donnelly and Ketelski assisting. Mentioned that Gretzky scored his 90th career playoff goal tonight. For Steve Casper, that's his 17th in Stanley Cup playoffs. Here, the Kings right back in again, testing Gamble. Well, that was LAK set up in front of the net. Vancouver gives the puck away. Robitaille to LAK. Tried to find Taylor in front and was tipped away from him. Benning hustling back for the Kings.
Dave Taylor talking to you at the end of the first period, talking about spreading out the Vancouver Canucks, and that's what they've been doing lately. They've been feeding the puck into the center ice area and getting away with it.
Dirk just popped Taylor after putting the puck in the LA end of the ice. Now they both go to their respective benches on a change. Vancouver slow to regain the blue line on a delayed offside, so the Kings with a chance to come out, and they do. LAK, neat little pass to Rob Blake. Takes it on into the Vancouver zone. Sergio Momesso with it. He spots a man up front but couldn't get it to him. There's Gretzky. Cuccinelli trying to pull his way around Curvers. They end up on the board. Sandstrom ends up with the puck. Tomas Sandstrom. Pushed to the boards by Curvers. There's Gretzky trying to center. Tonelli's shot is blocked in front. Gretzky can't get it teed up. And Momesso spotted Larry Arnoff, and the Canucks move it towards center, but right to McSorley. Now to Tonelli, to Gretzky on right wing. They found Tonelli. Tonelli can't get it to the blue line in time for McSorley to do anything with it, and here's Capuano on into the Los Angeles end. It's tied up. Continue to battle for it on the boards, a specialty of John Tonelli. Momesso gets out in front. Centered one across. Gerald Diddick with a shot. Rudy makes the save. We have 11 minutes and 23 seconds remaining in the second period, and a scuffle now behind the LA goal. Marty McSorley got this set off.
Momesso for Vancouver.
Well, LA has come back to take a lead, up by 1.
When your office is 200,000 acres of rugged woodland, and you train the men who prevent anything from happening to it, can't on just any deodorant. Men count on Old Spice deodorant. It works to prevent odor, to neutralize it before it starts. There's nothing else this effective with the clean classic scent of Old Spice.
You bet.
Old Spice deodorant, because prevention is the ultimate form of protection. Count on it.
Got some more penalties, Ed.
Marty McSorley, that's a look at Marty. Momesso, Sergio Momesso, who has been effective, one of the most effective Vancouver Canucks in this hockey game so far. They get roughing penalties.
Rick Wilson, Cap Raider. Coaching the Kings, Pat Quinn, Jack McElhargy on the bench for Vancouver. One thing here tonight, the Kings don't have the advantage of the eye in the sky. They don't have the communication system with the bench. Only the 2 assistant coaches. And they're both working behind the players tonight. Puck goes out of play at the Vancouver players bench as Ketelski tried to move it up right wing.
A couple of bad changes, too, in the first period. And you never know. Sitting up here watching it, you can see that the change isn't right. But there he is, the coach.
We asked him earlier tonight what he had to do, what areas they could exploit and take advantage of in this LA team.
What are you going to have to do?
Well, I'm not sure you can. They're a pretty solid team, as proved by their record for this season. I think the key thing for us is we've been a very dangerous team for ourselves when we have possession of the puck. On our attack, boy, we get pretty sloppy and careless, and we're a gambling team, and it has cost us dearly this year. And against this hockey club, if we do the same thing, it'll be a severe and possibly a quick exit. So we have to be pretty careful with the puck on attack.
You talk about hitting the nail right on the head. The coach knew coming in, huh? He has lived up to what he's had the problem for. There's Taylor with a centering pass. Diving stop by Gamble. Big save. Stevie Duchesne has moved right in to join the play. Vancouver goal. One of the magnets, the reason for the play stoppage, but what an opportunity for Duchesne and the Kings.
Beautiful scoring chance, and again, after watching the Los Angeles Kings do it a couple of times in the first period, here again, this time in behind Gerald Diddick. There's the stop. What a beauty by Troy Gamble. Stacked the pads and slid. His only hope was that the puck wasn't going to get shot higher than the stacked pads.
We played almost half the second period. Vancouver's had only 2 shots on goal. The Kings have had 7. LA scoring 38 seconds apart. Gretzky and then Casper. They've taken the deficit to a lead. McIntyre is at center ice. John McIntyre started the season with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Was traded over here for Mike Krushelnyski and has really brought some youth, some poise, spirit, and spunk to this LA team. He just got crunched there up between Murphy and Ojek. Didn't get back on side, so we get a play stoppage, and they're going to call it a deliberate offside and bring the face-off all the way down into the Los Angeles zone. Game 2 of this series will be Saturday night. We'll have it for you on Sports Channel. The young man you just saw, Gino Ojek, interesting situation. Broken cheekbone, got involved with Jay Caulfield in the game with the Pittsburgh Penguins, Ed, and he's just back into the lineup tonight.
Yeah, you know, while he was injured, there was a cute story. You know, he grew up on a reservation. He's a full-blooded Indian. And they were playing in Montreal, Vancouver were, but he was injured. And there were 2 busloads of his friends and family coming from the reservation. And he wasn't playing, so he flew all the way out from Vancouver to spend the day and the night with the group. 2 busloads coming in from the reservation.
Just wanted to entertain his pals in Montreal.
Yeah, he was just...
Speaking of entertaining, see who's here tonight? Mary Harden from Entertainment Tonight. Well, it's always a chance to do some people watching when you come to this building.
I guess so.
Robert Dirk with a shot off Kelly Rudy, and he had to drop down to cover it. Boy, Ojek does get things stirred up here, doesn't he? With the score, LA 4, Vancouver 3. Let's pause for a regional break. You're watching Sports Channel America's exclusive Stanley Cup coverage. For the 3rd consecutive year, Sports Channel America thrilled to be able to bring you the Stanley Cup playoffs. Exclusive on Sports Channel America. I'm Jakes McDonald with Ed Westfall. Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California. Game 1 of the Smythe Division playoffs between the Kings and the Canucks. LA leading by a score of 4-3. Yes, Wayne Gretzky has scored. So has Thomas Sandstrom. And with a chance right here, only to have the play go offside, John Tonelli, the veteran, cutting in on Troy Gamble.
Linesmen have to be on their toes every time Miller and Ojek are on the ice. They seem to be having a running conversation. They figure that it's going to break loose any moment. Tonto Tonelli.
Like 34 years old now. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, his role changing somewhat. Used to play on the power play his first 2 years here. He got 31 goals each one of those first 2 years. He got 14 this season. Of course, his role changing, as I mentioned. He goes back to a third line, doesn't get to play on the power play, but still very effective. He knows how to win, and he knows how to win Stanley Cups, having won 4 of them with the New York Islanders.
You look at this Los Angeles team, pretty good balance. Just ask around the division, around the league. The Kings, the Blues, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Boston Bruins, and the Calgary Flames amongst the teams that you'll hear most often mentioned. And most of us think it's a wide open race for the Stanley Cup Championship in the spring of '91. We'll have it for you all the way.
A couple of crazy bounces here, a hot goaltender there. Some injuries, all the concerns that coaches like Pat Quinn have, particularly when you're not stacked with talent the way his Vancouver team are. Then you add in emotion and smart play.
I like the moves that he made, though, late in the season, recognizing the fact that they had to make the playoffs. They had to give the people of Vancouver something in return for their loyalty. We've got a shaken up Canuck. Barry Robinson leading the rush for the Kings. Play continues here as the Kings had a scoring opportunity. Volk is just now back into the play. And Bozak plays the puck out into the center ice area. Jay Mazur check. Sandstrom plays it rink wide. A giveaway here in his own zone. And Bozak puts one in front. Rudy to stop. And Robinson checks his options before giving it to Steve Duchesne. Up the middle, Granato dumps it into the Vancouver zone. Gamble trying to play it up the near side. The Canucks do come out of the zone, led by Murzin. His pass to Mazur, crisscrosses, couldn't get it to Bozak. And Robitaille spots Gretzky moving through center, couldn't get it to him. Sandstrom recovers the puck. Tipped it to Gretzky, but it's offside. 8.5 minutes remaining in the second period. Number 99.
He gets loose. He stays up in that center ice area, and it just seems everybody gets mesmerized. Now they're watching Tony Granato so closely, they're forgetting about Gretzky. He stepped offside. He was the first one that knew it, but he decided to gamble on it anyway. Why not make the play? Maybe they won't blow the whistle.
He owns parts of a lot of things, including the Toronto Argonauts of the Canadian Football League, and understand there's going to be an announcement tomorrow concerning some playing talent that will be going to Toronto. The Rocket. It shouldn't tip things too much, I guess, but reportedly he will be here, if not already here tonight. Then we'll meet with him tomorrow. Bruce McNall, Wayne Gretzky. I don't know if John Candy's attending the meeting or not. Wouldn't that be something for the Canadian League?
Amazing how they get around the salary cap.
Linden, big shot. Rudy, fine save. Well, again, LA very generous with the puck. Vancouver not able to capitalize. They still trail by a goal.
Extra strength Rolaids antacid. Stronger because it has more calcium carbonate, more than any Tums tablet, and salt-free. More calcium carbonate and salt-free. This settles it once and for all.
Head and Shoulders for my serious dandruff? Blue is better. Extra medicated Selsun Blue.
With a medicine doctors recommend most. Medicine that relieves flaking better than Head and Shoulders.
Blue is better.
Selsun Blue, doctor recommended #1.
You're looking at the back of the head of, turn around, give us a look. Sure, John Cusack.
The Grifters?
Yeah, a fine movie, nominated for an Academy Award. He's a man who's been nominated for a lot of things. Still a very popular linesman amongst the players. He's quick to get in when all those little scrums develop. Kevin Collins, been around the National Hockey League for 14 years, that linesman.
His characteristics are non-confrontational. I think the players enjoy that.
Look out here. Cliff Ronning had control of it, then lost the puck, got it back. That was Gerald Diddick with a long shot. Diddick's playing on a bit of a bad wheel. His knee not 100% just now. Ronning got the puck to Linden. Casper knocked him off his skates. Here's Ronning. Only to have the Kings cleared out of the zone. Los Angeles 4, Vancouver 3. Lumet with a pass to Ronning. Flips it through the defense. Cordnall goes in after it. Behind the net, Robitaille is checked. And Ended up on the decks, courtesy of Trevor Linden. McSorley is on Linden as he feeds the puck back. Robert Dirk with a shot. Got through, but Rudy has it. Again, some pushing and shoving, and running is picking himself up.
Not all the actors are sitting watching the game.
Some words being exchanged, and linesman Kevin Collins over to talk to Robert Dirk. You're looking at Cliff Running leaving the ice.
Yeah, with St. Louis, Jigs, he had 14 goals, 18 assists in 32 games. Or I should say in 48 games. And had 6 goals, 6 assists in 12 games.
Don't confuse him with Theo Fleury, but he is about that size, and not so much an instigator, but he does seem to get things stirred up from time to time.
And he's about the same size.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hustle. Scored 72 goals in 42 games for the Sego Italian League last year.
Keeping you updated on that game between the Minnesota North Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks. They're just about set to start the overtime period. The game tied 3-3 in regulation. And here's Gretzky. His goal tied the game here at 3-3, and then Steve Kasper gave Los Angeles a 4-3 lead. That's where we stand with just over 7 minutes remaining in the second period. Steve Duchesne handling the puck. Made linesman Pat Capuzzo skip a rope as he shot it in. Kings flooding the zone. Gretzky, Sandstrom, and Granato. There's the pass. The puck loose in front as Granato drove to the net and bumped Troy Gamble. Sandstrom played it back inside the Vancouver zone. Kings get on side again, and Lidster, cross ice, was cleared out, came right back in. Dirk looks up the left side, spotted Momesso. He and Nedved at the line. The play broken up. Gretzky backhanded it up ahead, but right to Dana Merson. Now to Momesso. Had it cocked for a big slap shot, and who should come over? Rob Blake. Kings clear the zone. That's Sandstrom with 3 Canucks back. Sandstrom, look at that pass to Granato. And his shot is blocked by Merson. Kings completing a player change. The Canucks come out of the zone, but the pass is too far for Capuano. They've ruled that LA could have played it. So Rudy does, and Rob Blake takes it in the exchange. That's Robitaille moving down the left side. Trying to move in on Tom Curvers. Taylor goes for a loose puck. But it's back of the net. The wraparound from Elik won't go by Gamble. Robitaille fed it. McSorley's shot is blocked. On Elik. It's away from Merson. Came out in front. Gamble had that figured out. The puck is controlled by the Canucks. Mazer crossed the line. Coming late. Larry Arnoff comes right in on goal. It's stopped by McSorley. Didn't see it. Comes right back on Rudy's goal crease. Courtesy of Larry Arnoff. McSorley is back. Kings every now and then seem to lose concentration, or so it would appear.
They give the puck up seemingly very easily in their own end of the ice, and Vancouver has been slowly taking the play away from them.
In a while, I guess, since we've watched the Smythe Division game. Look at that pass to Robitaille. Getting back, and Robitaille puts it in. The net was off. Goal, I think, is going to count. There'll be a protest from the Canucks.
That breakout pass, Los Angeles uses it right. Gerald Didick in pursuit. Gamble was out arguing. He was sent back to the net. There's Robitaille. Didick, number 4, after him. That's the puck as it keeps sliding. The puck is in. Yes, I think it's a right call. The puck seemed to cross the goal line. Didick was in the net first there, then Robitaille. There's the puck. He brings it in from outside. That's the argument. Watch where the linesman and referee are as Luc Robitaille fights off Gerald Didick. There's the puck, though, outside the goal crease as he brings it back in and puts it in the net. I think that's what the argument is.
The net came off. The linesman, Pat Capuzzo, in great position. And Puzo immediately was headed for the referee's area, the officials' area in front of the penalty box. Still a discussion. Veteran referee Dave Newell is the supervisor, and Jim Gregory of the NHL officiating staff is here as well. He just came to watch our monitor, nodded his head as if, yes, good call by referee Kerry Fraser, and I agree. It is now 5-3 Los Angeles. Robitaille with an assist from Elliott at 14:59.
Is there a legitimate argument, Jiggs, with the fact that that puck appeared to be outside the goal crease and Robitaille brought it back in and put it through his legs and into the net? That would be the argument.
No, that's okay. He was his own momentum had carried him in there and in control of the puck going in and reached back for it.
Agreed. But the fact that the puck was outside the goal crease and he brought it back in with himself in it. There we are up. You see the maze of lights. It's hard to pick them out. The gentleman with his hand up to his face. Over to the right, too, is Jim Gregory.
And in between Dave Newell and Jim Gregory, the man who will referee game 2. The standby referee tonight, Mark Fawcett. Well, the discussion continues. Capuano now is going to say something to the referee. Kerry Fraser making the call. Robitaille's goal stands. 5 different Kings have scored. Robitaille, Kasper, and Gretzky in this period. Sandstrom and Kudelski in the first period. The goal judges, I should say, off-ice officials, are from Edmonton. One thing about the National Hockey League playoff time, neutral officials in all arenas.
And they enjoy it, too. They love to get out and travel around for playoff hockey.
This is actually the reward for not very much money for working regular season games. Oh, yeah, maybe a meal in the press room. Rudy stretching out, covering the low ice, makes a save. Upset on the play is Sergio Momesso, but Kelly Rudy smothered the puck and held on to it.
Each year, the experts at Car and Driver look at over 100 cars, so you don't have to. From the current new cars, they just picked their 10 best. At the most, you'll probably only buy one of them. That's too bad, because 2 of the 10 best are Mercury's. Mercury Sable and Mercury Tracer LTS. All this in the quality of a Mercury.
We will return you to the Great Western Forum momentarily, but what we have right now is a situation where a goal was scored in Edmonton, and the Oilers get the goal here, and it was Craig Simpson to make it 3-1 Edmonton.
Wow, that's a bit of a surprise, Bob, although some of us looked to Edmonton and said they'll get it cranked up at playoff time, and we've all been shaking our heads for a few weeks. The LA Kings won the division, even though Calgary had such a great home schedule coming down the stretch, Ed.
Yes, I can remember when the Islanders were playing the Los Angeles Kings, and they were thinking about going home, and they had something like their last 12 or 13 games, they had 9 at home.
But they couldn't beat, those Flames just couldn't beat LA, either in Calgary when it really counted, or here. And then in the last meeting of the season, first place had already been wrapped up. LA didn't take its full team to Calgary, lost. Here tonight, after trailing 2-0, seemed to be in control at 5-3 with little less than 4 minutes to play in the second period. The puck goes out of play, some pushing and shoving again after the whistle. Well, Merson drew the attention of the Kings. And referee Kerry Fraser on the perimeter now comes back in and signals 1 penalty. I think he may have 2. Sending Kudelski off. Merson will get a rest as well.
Going back talking about the Los Angeles Kings playing in Calgary. They had 20 road wins, LA. Third behind St. Louis, who had 23, and Chicago had 21. So LA, a good road team.
Vastly improved team this season. They had a bit of an off year, but you look at them coming into this playoff. Gretzky's healthy. Kelly Rudy's healthy this year. Some of the problem areas of last year don't exist.
Well, of course, Gretzky, you were talking about the fact that he missed a lot of the playoffs last year, and you'll remember the Islanders playing them near the end of the season, and Alan Kerr cross-checked Gretzky, and he missed quite a few playoff games.
Got a couple more unsportsmanlike conduct penalties called at 16-19 of this period. Kadelsky and Merzen sent off. Teams remained at full and equal strength. Linden, little pass was blocked. Kings do get it out of the zone. Now Blake drops it back in for Benning. Tries the left side. That's Steve Casper shooting it wide at the Vancouver goal. Lume with McIntyre moving in on him. Now Ronning plays it up the boards. Canucks come to center ice. Linden with a feed to Ronning. Back into Linden. Sharp angle shot went wide. Diddick played it off a skate. Ellick shoveled it up ahead to Blake and then right back to Ellick. Todd Ellick outflanking Jeff Quinn as he comes over center ice with a pass here. They go rink wide, and Taylor flipped one in front that's scooped up and held by Troy Gamble. We have just a little under 3 minutes remaining now in the second period. LA up 5-3.
Attention! Company! Dismiss!
The people of Delta would like to recognize the sacrifice made by our armed forces and their families.
We do have a special military fare.
Now, with our welcome home fares, active military personnel and their eligible family dependents can travel to USA for 70% less.
Albuquerque, New Mexico? Is that your hometown?
That's right, ma'am. I'm going home.
Delta, we love to fly, and it shows.
Well, the crowd is going a little crazy here. They've been watching the out-of-town scoreboard. I don't know whether Wayne Gretzky has been watching it. I kind of doubt it. He's more interested in who he's going to face on this face-off in Vancouver's end of the ice.
And he wins the draw, getting the puck back to Duchesne. Gretzky was up against Peter Nedved on that draw. A lot of similarities. Nedved skates, bent over, handles himself on the ice much like Gretzky. Hasn't put up anywhere near the numbers, though.
Not yet. He's only 19 and getting underway. Whether he ever does or not, he does have. He tucks the shirt into the pants the same way, shakes the shoulders and the head when he skates.
LA trying to apply some pressure here now. Canucks come to center. Here in Los Angeles, the Kings lead 5-3. Wayne Gretzky with a pass. Duchesne shot. Turned aside and then slapped away by Gamble. Gretzky, Renato, and Sandstrom. That's Renato trying to complete the scoring. One each for this line and missing. And now the net is off again, and again we have some scuffling. Gretzky is over to talk to the referee. 1 minute, 54 seconds left in the second period.
Renato getting under the skin of some of the Vancouver players. Gretzky is arguing that there should be a penalty for Gamble taking the net off its moorings deliberately without any LA Kings in the area.
Just to get you up to date, Vancouver led 3-2 at the end of the first period. Then Gretzky tied it with his 90th career Stanley Cup playoff goal. Steve Casper gave LA its first lead, and Robitaille has extended it. 5 different Kings have scored tonight. The Canucks at one stage led this game 2-0.
Of course, one of the problems that I try to point out is the fact that the Vancouver Canucks, when you've got somebody out against Gretzky trying to cover Gretzky and his line, what do you do about Robitaille, who comes out right behind him?
The 1-2 punch. Troy Gamble has seen 26 shots from the Los Angeles Kings thus far. Well, Minnesota has beaten Chicago in overtime. How about that?
Boy, that must have been a fairly quick overtime goal also.
Now you've got Hartford going in and beating the first place team in the Adams division. The fourth place team in the Norris division beats the first place team.
New Jersey Devils knocking off the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Right again. Earlier, of course, we reported that Detroit had won. So some strange things happening around the National Hockey League. Well, LA moving the puck out, but then back in. A hand pass is all that's being called by referee Kerry Fraser. Let's get an update. Back to the studios and Bob Papa.
With Keith Brown in the penalty box for a high sticking penalty, Neil Broughton sends a pass over to Mark Tenorti. Tenorti puts it near the net, and Brian Propp beats Ed Belfour. Chicago wins 4-3 in overtime. They lead the series 1-0. Back to Jiggs McDonald and Eddie Westfall.
How about that, Bob? I'll tell you what, and Ed, you know as well as I do, you just can't beat experience, and Brian Propp has brought that to Minnesota. What a big win for that team.
Tenorti was involved in that hockey game from start to finish, so was Propp. I think Bob was talking about Chicago winning 4-3. I think he meant it was Minnesota.
And Brian Propp, who was in the Stanley Cup final last year playing for the Boston Bruins, gets the game winner. Here's Steve Kasper putting the puck in the Vancouver zone. The Canucks able to clear it out, and going back is Tim Waters. Waters and McSorley together. Ooh, the puck wobbling a little on Waters. Now Kasper trying to step in front of Cordnall. Stevie Kasper checked from behind. Linden knocked the puck loose, and here's Ronning. He winds up. Gets into the LA end of the ice. Promptly put the puck back in the net. Rudy moves it up the far side. And Donnelly cleared it away at the line. It was shot back in. But the Canucks get the play onside, and we have less than half a minute to go in the second period. This is Kasper. Around Quinn with a feed here. Long shot by Kudelski is turned aside. Ronning slaps it up the glass. And out of play. 14 seconds, all that's left in this second period.
Whatever the puzzle was for the second period, the Los Angeles Kings so far have been able to solve it.
Looking at Cliff Ronning. And now the LA coaching staff with 14 seconds remaining in the period. They've come out and outscored Vancouver 3-0 in the period. Tonelli on the left side. Jay Miller is on the right. John McIntyre in the middle for LA. Larry Ardoff is out with Bozak and Mazur for Vancouver. Larry Ardoff winning the draw. He has one of the two Vancouver goals. Puck played to the Los Angeles blue line and cleared away from there. Lidster promptly puts it inside the line. It's brought back by McIntyre, and there's the end of the second period. Well, a very good period for the Los Angeles Kings.
In the first period, it seemed to be the unsung heroes that carried the hockey game. Some of the superstars getting involved in the second.
Very, very good period for the Los Angeles Kings. They're taking a 5-3 lead over the Canucks with the dressing room, and certainly something for Vancouver to think about. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching Sports Channel America's exclusive Stanley Cup coverage. Now at the end of the second period in Los Angeles, the Kings over the Canucks 5-3. Vancouver got off to a good start. Dave Capuano and Igor Larionov had them up 2-0. Then Sandstrom and Kudelski tie it late in the first period. Jeff Cordnall gives Vancouver a lead. But in that second period, goals by Gretzky, Kasper, and Robitaille. The Gretzky-Kasper goal separated by only 38 seconds, and LA comes out leading 5-3. Shots on goal, first period, even, 13 apiece. LA over Vancouver in shots, 14-11 in the second, 27-24 the totals in that department. We should have talked to Jeff Cordnall at the end of the first period. He had his team up by a goal at that time. What happened in that second period, Jeff?
Well, I don't know. We came out a little bit sluggish. I think we turned the puck over a little bit too much at their blue line, and every time we seemed to turn it over, it cost us.
Well, you're the guy that got Vancouver into the playoffs. You've got to be very happy with that overtime goal to eliminate Winnipeg and put your new team into this position.
Yeah, things have gone really well since the trade. I think, you know, the team's playing a lot better. I think, you know, we feel pretty confident right now. I think we can give Los Angeles a better series than everybody thinks, and I just think a lot of players are playing with a lot more confidence now.
How about the speed factor out here in this division, the Smythe division, noted for the speed and wide open style of play? Any adjustment that you had to go through there, Jeff?
Not really. I mean, you know, I don't mind playing in this division, the speed game. I think that suits my style a little bit, but you know, sometimes we had to, we changed a little bit. The breakouts in the neutral zone was a little bit different, but we've adjusted quite well.
Well, there's still 20 minutes to play. Thanks for the visit. Good luck to the Vancouver Canucks, and thanks for getting them into the playoffs too, Jeff. Bob Papa will get you up to date on all the strange things that have been going on in the early round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Great Western Forum, home of the Los Angeles Kings, the team that after 24 seasons finally wrapped up a division title this year. They haven't disappointed anybody. If you've missed the game, let's get you up to date on what's been happening in this building tonight. Gets some help. Duchesne goes in. That's a scores! Boy, he can dance on those skates. Centers, and Cordnall scores!
20 seconds before the period.
Robitaille getting back, and Robitaille puts it in. The net was off. Goal, I think, is going to count. There'll be a protest. The Vancouver Canucks headed for the ice here at the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, trailing by a score of 5-3, a game that they led at one time 2-0. Also led 3-2 at the end of the first period. Backup goaltender tonight, Bob Mason, just walked by our camera. He's some story too. When McLean got hurt and things weren't going that well with Troy Gamble because of a concussion, they had to get another goaltender. LA, one of only 2 teams in the league to go with only 2 goaltenders all season.
Kelly Rudy, Jigs, I might point out, has not lost here since December the 29th. He's won 11 straight games here at home.
He and Daniel Berthiaume sharing the goaltending chores all season. The other team that only had 2 goaltenders, the New York Rangers. Waters on the LA defense moved the puck out towards center, but Donnelly couldn't handle it, so Ronning for Vancouver forces the Kings back. Waters comes up the left side. It's held at the line, then Lidster gets to it, centered. Good job by Waters tying up Linden. Quinn dances back in the net. A backhander turned aside, and the rebound is jabbed away from Ronning before he could shoot it. Dirk puts it back in the goal. It comes bouncing off the boards, and Waters clears the zone. Lidster flips it right back in. The Canucks in the middle of a player change. Gives McSorley some time to handle it. One touched out of the zone onto Alec's stick, and he's rubbed out at the blue line. Back for Vancouver, Diddick. He started the season in Montreal. He got it to Mazur, but not out of the zone. Robinson to Taylor. Oh, and it jumped away from Robitaille as he went to shoot it. Robinson feeds it up ice. Alec dumps it in. The Kings get the play back on side. We're a minute into the third period. Los Angeles leading Vancouver 5-3. Jay Mazur. Left side, that's Larry Arnoff. Right back to Mazur. A backhand shot kicked aside by Robinson. The Kings try to come up the left wing boards. Steve Duchesne with an outlet that was blocked. Then recovered. Taylor stumbling, got knocked down, and Duchesne rides hurt on Lume. Okay, Lume checked as he came to the blue line. Diddick, his defense mate, handles it here. They try to catch the Kings in a player change with that long pass up the left side. Steve Bozak puts it deeper into the Los Angeles zone. Benning moving the puck toward Gretzky. The pass went to Benning. Crisscrossing through center ice. Come back for Vancouver is Merzen. Tom Curvers tries the far side. Merzen moved it on to Capuano's stick. His pass is intercepted. Sandstrom lost sight of it. Now gets to it. Jabs it out toward Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky handling the puck. The pass to Sandstrom. Ooh, he wanted to move around Curvers and couldn't do it. Puck just wouldn't stay with him.
Curvers had trouble in the first period, Jigs. He seemed to settle down in the second. He was not giving the puck away as often as he did in the first.
The Kings have forced the Canucks to pay a price, however, when they do turn it over. Here's Gretzky. Has John Tonelli moving up with him. The pass into the slot. Sandstrom shot is just wide. Tonelli a turnaround. A hard pass to Sandstrom. Over to John Tonelli. In deeper to number 99. That was Nedved slowing up Gretzky. Merzen is on him now. There's Tonelli trying to get it off the boards. The Canucks control it. Peter Nedved. Over the line with it here on the right side is Capuano. Holds it. Holds it. Can't find anybody moving up the slot. Lister puts it back in the net. Botesso turns. Waters right on him. John Tonelli there as well. The Canucks come up with the puck. Robert Dirk in to join the play. Centers. That's swept away from the goal mouth. John Tonelli unable to get out of the zone. Waters will try the other side of the ice. Let's McSorley handle it now. Well, McSorley, the puck played up ahead. McIntyre. Gamble hooked it, jab it away from him. Well.
A gamble that he had to make in one way, but it paid off, but he did get some help in a hurry.
Well, they did get back all right. Now Larry Robinson gets it out of the zone. The Kings in the middle of a player change. McIntyre hit with a good hit from the LA Kings. Forward was really crunched. Here's Taylor rounding the net. Taylor takes a look toward Robinson. Couldn't get the puck to him. Now it's Ellick stepping out of the corner. Moves it on to a teammate's stick. That's Robitaille centering, only to have Murphy break up the pass. Robitaille tried to go back to the net. Diddick stepped in front of him. Dave Taylor frees the puck for Ellick. So Robitaille has to turn and chase it. Diddick plays it away from him. Shane able to hold it in, but he shot it over the glass and up into the seats. We're 4.5 minutes into the third period. Los Angeles leads 5-3.
Each year, the experts at Car and Driver look at over 100 cars, so you don't have to. From the current new cars, they just picked their 10 best. At the most, you'll probably only buy one of them. That's too bad, because 2 of the 10 best are Mercury's. Mercury Sable and Mercury Tracer LTS. All this in the quality of a Mercury.
Some body hits in the third period. 44 on 44. That's Rob Murphy out of Hull, Quebec, laying on the ice, hit by John McIntyre, 21-year-old centerman of LA.
Who said they don't hit in the Smythe division?
Wow, must have forgot. New kid on the block.
Canucks trying to come up through center ice. Linden couldn't handle the puck. Benning has forced the Canucks to go back. Dana Merzen parks back of the net. Now Curvers moved it to Linden, to Ronning, up ahead. Here's Cordnall trying to cut in on the defense. Does, pulls Rudy and scores!
What a beautiful goal by Russ Cordnall. Jeff Cordnall, excuse me. Russ is tied up in Montreal. What a quick breakout. You could see it coming as the Vancouver Canucks from deep in their own end of the ice started to pick their way out, and with that pass, Cordnall grabbed it. Watch him fight off a stick check with his left leg. Now he holds the puck as he goes to the forehand. Held it. Kelly Rudy committed, and Cordnall popped it over top of him. Watch him hold the puck as he goes out on the forehand. He's got to go a little bit further, and then he lifts it over top of a diving, sprawling Kelly Rudy. Big goal for the Vancouver Canucks as Jeff Cordnall, with his second of the hockey game, brings them within 1.
Pretty pass. Linden found him moving. That's something that Cordnall didn't do regularly for the Washington Capitals last year. You think of the playoff series, especially the round with the Boston Bruins. Not shooting the puck. When he did, he was missing the net. He showed some patience. Let Rudy go down. Virtually an empty net to put it into.
That's all made a lot easier when you use the speed, and he was using it there.
So the Canucks trailing down by only 1. Trying to come out of the zone. Igor Larionov with the pass to the right side. This is Mazur, and over to crowd him is Waters. The Canucks center it out in front. Oh, right across the goal mouth. Nobody there to tap it by Rudy, who is swinging at it and missing. Here's a chance developing at the other end, but Granato can't get to him in time. Now he does. Spotted Gretzky. Gretzky to McSorley. In deep to Gretzky. Oh, look at that move. A couple of them, and then Dirk knocked it loose. Gretzky has it again. Gets it to Sandstrom. Dirk still on Gretzky. Sandstrom a backhander off Gamble, and look at the stop by Troy Gamble. Then the rebound is stopped. Another chance for LA, turned aside.
Well, they're coming fast and furious. Robitaille was in there. He had a chance. So did Sandstrom. All started when Gretzky began his dance behind the net.
Los Angeles 5, Vancouver 4 as the puck is frozen on the boards deep in the Los Angeles end of the ice. We still have 13 minutes and 23 seconds left in the third period.
Yeah, we just scored. No, I didn't see Kevin get hit.
Kev, you okay? I wind up in the hospital, and Bob gets a winning goal.
I couldn't let Kevin miss the party.
I was having a pretty good time where I was.
Friends deserve the best.
Friendship. Just being there.
The crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer, Labatt's Blue.
I have to be flat on my back to get Bob to buy me a blue.
Between friends, it's true blue. Labatt's Blue.
Vancouver knew they'd have to open things up a little bit, and who can open it up better than Jeff Cordnall? He opened things up there. He opened up some net and put it in. That brought the Vancouver Canucks within a goal. And here at the other end, Troy Gamble showing some of the goaltending prowess that made him famous in the first 2 months of the season, where he led all goaltenders.
He's faced 29 shots from the Kings so far. Kelly Rudy facing 26 at the other end. And it's 5-4 Los Angeles. Game 1, best-of-7 series. Edmonton has already upset Calgary. You know that Minnesota won in overtime. You know that Detroit beat St. Louis. None of the favorites have been able to win in this conference thus far. But it is early in the series, albeit. Bucks led 2-0 and led 3-2 at the end of the first period. Gave up the puck at the LA line. That's Benning with a quick pass to Robitaille. Ellick trying to get to the net. Can't get the puck to him. Kadowski dropped it back. Now Ellick taking that feed from Blake, flips it high off the glass, chasing it is Diddick. They've had only one power play in this game. There have been a lot of penalties. Look at the giveaway, and Miller on it, then lost it. Kings can't hold it at the blue line. Walk down the right side. Nice pass, but it's offside. Nedved was ahead of the play. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching Sports Channel America's exclusive Stanley Cup coverage.
Planning. Where'd I get the capital to start this business with my daughter? By investing for the long haul. And forget full commission brokers. I called Charles Schwab with munis, mutual funds, blue chips, and I saved plenty with Schwab's low commissions. Every day I tell my daughter, think long term. Make your own decisions. Be your own man.
For a free Schwab Fact Kit, call toll-free 800-841-0300.
Desperate times deserve desperate measures. That's Larry Robinson. He's getting a quick edge on a stripped skate.
Right on the bench. Home comes to play. Veteran Larry Robinson. Is this the year for another Stanley Cup? So many things that can happen between now and the end of May. Vancouver trying to come through center ice. The play broken up. Now they move it up ahead, and Rob Murphy shot it wide of Rudy. Kelly Rudy playing it around to the right side. There's Jay Miller. He gets bumped. Gets some help, however, and the Kings clear the zone. Only to have Berzin force them right back in again. Now Vancouver in the player change. They're not about to take advantage of it as the right side was wide open. They do come up that side, however. This is Casper. Conley has tipped it into the Vancouver zone, went shoulder to shoulder with Lidston, and the veteran defenseman comes away with it. Knocks past to Linden, intercepted by Gretzky. Campbell leaves it behind the net. They'll try the far side. Now to the near side for Linden. Trevor Linden, checked by Donnelly. The puck loose. There's Marty McSorley. Mike Donnelly has had an impressive opening game in playoffs for the LA Kings tonight.
He skated well, Jiggs, and played his position well, and that's given him some good scoring opportunities, 3 of them in the first period.
Now the Kings start out of the zone with a pass to Wayne Gretzky. He found the man on the right side, only to have a shot go wide from Kadowski. Robitaille into the corner. Bob Kadowski centers. Gretzky couldn't get a stick on it. Here's Cordnall, 2-on-1 with Linden. Waters backing in. The drive, they score! Cordnall's third.
You won't get to see it on the replay, folks. It was too fast. It was too hard. Troy Gamble was almost to the blue line, jumping up and down, as his Vancouver Canucks and Jeff Cordnall in particular have tied the score. What a blast. He had no intentions of passing to Trevor Linden, who was on his right side, from a bad angle. What a blistering drive. He must have known something that nobody else knew. He knew he could put it in. Here's Cordnall. Look at his head up. He never once put it down, and he just blisters it into the top right-hand corner. There was only enough room for the puck to get in.
A well-traveled player, a native of Victoria, British Columbia, and he's made the entire province happy with that goal. The game tied 5-5. And the Canucks over the line again. Robinson knocked his man down. Ozak couldn't center it in time, and now the Kings come to center. Here's Ellick. He's got a 2-on-1 developing. A pass to Taylor. Abe Taylor had trouble handling it. And Lume sends his teammates out of the zone. Falk carries it towards center. Larionov puts it down inside the Los Angeles territory. Chasing it back for the Kings is Robinson. We passed the midway point of the third period. Robinson dumps it in, and the Kings go for a player change. Gretzky into forecheck. Here's Burzin starting out. He mishandled the puck. Gretzky was there but couldn't get it teed up in time. Curvers was right on him. Now Curvers turns it over. Sandstrom puts it back in the net, but Larionov had the play read and clears the zone. This will be an icing. Rudy started out as if to play it, decides not to. And with the score tied 5-5, we pause for a regional break. You're watching Sports Channel America's exclusive Stanley Cup coverage.
If you're concerned about getting rid of weeds this way, try a better way. I'm Jim Martindale, here to introduce you to the Weed Popper.
Place the Weed Popper next to a weed, step down, and the weed pops right out. The Weed Popper pulls weeds without kneeling, bending, and without chemicals that may be dangerous to our groundwater supply.
The Weed Popper, with its 100% lifetime guarantee, pops weeds out as easy as 1, 2, 3.
The Weed Popper is available at participating Ace, True Value, Trustworthy, and Sentry hardware stores. Makes a great gift for friends who garden.
Turnovers, that's a polite way of saying giving up the puck. Kadowski with that long pass across the ice. It ends up on Cordnall's stick. That results in back-to-back Jeff Cordnall goals. Look at that blast. A beauty. Nice camera work. You finally got to see the puck.
He gets that thing underway. So the game is 5-5. And the black-clad Canucks applying pressure again. Meso turns in the corner a second time. Protects it well. Now the Kings get to it, and Blake steps from back of the net. Up the middle goes Sandstrom. The pass, no, he did not make contact with it. He comes racing and after it. Does make contact to avoid an icing. Gretzky is right there on the play. Donnelly after it. Trots Gretzky back in the net. Up to Donnelly. Can't kick it back to the stick. Wallow for Vancouver. Finds Burzin moving up. The big defenseman with a shot that's steered aside by Kelly Rudy. And Marty McSorley clears the zone. Sandstrom down the right side. He shoots one that bobbled wide of the net. Now he centers it back to the high slot. McSorley shot from the point went high and wide. They set up Waters. Jim Waters back to Donnelly. Plays it to the far side of the ice. McSorley in after it. He wraps it around the boards. Donnelly goes after it. The Canucks get there first. Nedved is checked. And the Kings pushing the Vancouver Canucks. Lidster banks one off the glass away from McSorley. This will be an icing call against Vancouver. Now less than 8 minutes remaining in the third period at the Great Western Forum.
Watching for Tony Granato, you see Donnelly out with Sandstrom and Gretzky. Whether Granato is taking an early or quick shift, and that lets Donnelly get a lot of ice time with Gretzky and Thomas Sandstrom. What a comeback for Pat Quinn and his Vancouver Canucks here in the third period. A lot of open ice. They've created some open ice, but a turnover by Los Angeles created the tying goal.
The theme during the 2 days spent at Lake Arrowhead, overconfident. Do not get overconfident. Do not regard the Vancouver Canucks lightly. I don't know that they regarded them lightly. I don't know that they were prepared for some of the things they've done. The speed, the shot from Cordnall. Shots, I should say, I guess. 3 goals for Jeff Cordnall. 5-5 is the scores. Duchesne knocked the puck out of the air, knocked it away from Cordnall. Canucks are on it. Lidster moves it up the near boards. There's Robinson back. The pass to Robitaille. Behind the back pass to Ellick to Robitaille. Check from behind. Cordnall caught up to him.
Who says he's only a one-way player? Good check by Jeff Cordnall.
Now Trevor Linden out through center ice. Crisscrossing with Lidster. Linden plays it around Robinson. Kings will start the play here, although they turn the puck over. Ronning, nice move. McIntyre gets to him. Cordnall gets to the puck, however. Played it in deep. Robinson lays a hip into Ronning. Knocks up with it again. Trying to center it here is Mazur. Got it back to Lume, who shot it wide. Robinson trying to get a stick away from Ronning. Pause at the little guy. Ronning gets it back toward Lume, but the Kings are on it in a hurry, and Robinson has spotted McIntyre. Into Robitaille and into his skates. Lume brings it up the middle. 6.5 minutes to go in the third period. Lume puts a move on Tonelli. The center one that's turned aside by Rudy. The Canucks get to it again. This is Bozak. Spots a man moving in. Larry Ernoff with a shot. Rudy down has covered the puck and held it for a faceoff. Canucks have the Kings backing in, testing Kelly Rudy with the game tied 5-5.
I couldn't raise the money to save the orphanage. I guess I'm a failure.
You're Larry Milligan from Wall Street. I've invested in their future.
All you needed was some faith.
And friends.
In the movies, happy endings are easy, but in the real world, they take solid planning. So for peace of mind, investment advice are the home of your dreams. Come to the companies of the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
It's been some night in the playoffs. Minnesota wins in overtime at Chicago Stadium. And then, as you heard a little while back, Detroit had no problem with St. Louis despite 2 goals from Brett Hull. Yzerman had 3. And the third road team to win its opening playoff game, the Edmonton Oilers, defending Stanley Cup champs, go into the Saddle Dome and win 3-1.
Must have been very quiet in the Olympic Saddle Dome.
Yes, I can well imagine. Not what the Flames expected nor wanted. And certainly the fans have to be concerned.
Coming from the hands of the hated provincial rival.
On the conclusion of this game, Bob Papa in our studios will have all the highlights and details of night number 2. It all began last night. Prince of Wales Conference playoffs.
What a job Ronning. He's the kind of a player that's very difficult to check, Jiggs. He moves so quickly. He dances on his skates, and then somehow he's able to control the puck. Watch him get out of the way here. He spins off a check from Larry Robinson. He stays in the position. Then he kicks the puck along the boards, works it to his teammate. And Robinson, wow, he rockets his head back, says, take that. He did, and he kept on going. Cliff Ronning.
Ronning spent last season playing in Italy. St. Louis just couldn't find a regular spot for him. The Canucks welcomed him. He's another British Columbia native, playing back home, so to speak. Waters has dumped the puck in here for the Kings. Merson handles it now for Vancouver. 5.5 minutes to go in the third period. Waters steers the outlet aside, and it's shot right back in. Tom Curver's after it. Renato is after him and bumped him. Here's Gretzky waiting for it. Puts it in front. Renato couldn't get it on the stick. Waters does, and his shot is blocked at the defense. Back come the Vancouver Canucks. That's Steve Bozak on the left side. Larry Ernoff in to join the play. The pass jabbed away right to Capuano, and he put it high off the crossbar. Wow.
Los Angeles very loose in their own end of the ice. That one off the crossbar. What a difference that could make in this hockey game. Vancouver now, they've got LA all but hanging on the ropes.
And 5 minutes left in regulation time. Alex pass didn't get to Robitaille. Dirk goes cross ice. Nedved has cleared the zone, and Duchesne drops back for Los Angeles. Up the middle he comes. Slowed up a little at the line, danced away from a check, and the weak shot is stopped by Troy Gamble. The Canucks just get it into the center ice area. Robinson waits there. Dirk reaching for it, missed. Dave Taylor is out on the ice with Alec and Robitaille for Los Angeles. Nedved, Capuano, and Momesso together for Vancouver as the forwards.
LA, Jigs, only 2 shots on goal here in the third period. That's not a team that's going to win too many hockey games.
No, they've given up a pair of goals to Cordnall. This game is tied. Now less than 4 minutes in regulation time, and Lume handles the puck at center ice. Benning dropping back for LA. The rhythmic hand clapping of this capacity crowd of 16,005. They sent something as Donnelly dumped it in wide. Casper racing it after it. Gamble played it away from the onrushing Kings centerman. Nedved to Linden. Trevor Linden on the backhand. Shifts, trying to get away from Benning. Now the forehand pass to Diddick. Diddick's shot is tipped off Rudy's catching glove. Nedved gets tied up. Linden nudges the puck toward Momesso. Momesso left it on the boards. There's Nedved. Blake bowls him over. And the Kings will come up with a loose puck. Vancouver is on a change. Benning with a pass. Casper couldn't knock it out of the air. Lume trying to clear the zone. Does. Nedved helping out. And the Kings will start from deep in their own zone with exactly 3 minutes left in the third period. LA scored 3 unanswered goals in the second period. Vancouver has scored twice here in the third. 5-5 is the score. Kings come to center ice. Casper on the left side has dumped it in. Gretzky will give chase. Curvers takes over for Vancouver. On Curvers. Now they come to center. Running here on the right side. It's over the Los Angeles line. Fakes once. Lets it go. He scores!
Wow, the Vancouver Canucks continue to push the LA Kings back into their own end of the ice. And the player we talked about just moments ago, Cliff Ronning, handling the puck so well and skating, faked a couple of times. LA backed up a little bit further, and that opened up a lot of spots for him. Here he comes down the right side, shifts into the middle. He's got options on his right and his left. You see him fake once, held the puck, used the defenseman as a screen, and then beat Kelly Rudy on the glove side.
Is it the Vancouver Canucks, or is it the St. Louis Blues? The St. Louis acquisition by the Canucks on the trading deadline is figured in each one of the 6 goals tonight.
Cordnall, Momesso, Ronning, Robert Dirk, all arriving here, and the LA Kings are feeling the brunt of that trade.
If you have Jeff Cordnall in your playoff pool, you've done well. 3 goals and an assist. And the Canucks lead 6-5 with 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. Renato was taken down at the Vancouver line. Now the crowd becomes a little upset. And the Canucks have the puck. Arianov shoots, hit the outside of the net. Robinson works it to the left side. This is Thomas Sandstrom. To Duchesne. Offside at the blue line with 1 minute and 55 seconds left in regulation, and the Kings trailing by a goal.
Now how am I going to get there? It'll be great to see the guys again. I wonder if they'll all show. I just gotta get there.
I'm trying to make my way back to the Brackendale River.
Friends deserve the best.
This is great. They all showed up.
The crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer, Labatt's Blue.
What took you so long?
I had a little car trouble.
Between friends, it's true blue, Labatt's Blue.
A look at the Vancouver players bench.
Everybody a little cautious, and the reason they're a little cautious, they know that what's facing them in the next minute and 55 seconds is this team, the Los Angeles Kings, with a lot of firepower.
Last time they played in regular season, they were just coming off a big win in Calgary. The Kings went into Vancouver, lost in overtime. Well, no problem, right? Wrong. Perhaps. Benning here on the left side. Propels one that ends up back of the net and controlled by Nedved. There's another youngster that's played well for Vancouver tonight. Peter Nedved, their #1 draft pick from this past entry draft.
Their line's been out, most of the night against Robitaille's line. LAK has done a very good job.
Now the fans want a penalty. There won't be one called. He saw LAK taken down. Nedved gets knocked down. We're 75 seconds away from the conclusion of this game if it remains this way. 6-5 Vancouver. We'll keep an eye on Kelly Rudy now. Giving up 6 goals tonight. Make sure he has to stay in there. We have less than a minute to go in regulation. Kings come up the right side with a pass to Gretzky. Rudy starts out of the net. Here's Robinson with a shot. Pad save. The rebound is there for Robitaille. He shoots. That's blocked at the defense. Lidster plays it around the boards. LA with 6 attackers, but they'll have to set up at center ice.
What a hard blast by Larry Robinson. And from there, Luc Robitaille had a good shot. Gamble made a good save.
Canucks trying to come up the boards are forced back into their own zone. Now half a minute to go. That's the time ticking down the top of your picture. McSorley pinching in, runs into Cordnall. Gretzky sets up back of the net. Can't get it out on the backhand pass. Now he gets it to Robinson. To McSorley, and it's tipped away by Cordnall. Robinson hustles back. 15 seconds left. Up the middle with the pass. Blocked by Ronning. Robinson over to take away the chance at an empty net. 7 seconds left. Gretzky has it. Gretzky moves in off right wing. Big drive. That's deflected wide of the net. Vancouver wins game 1.
They never stop in the third period in particular. What a show for the Vancouver Canucks. What a lot of mistakes for the Los Angeles Kings, particularly in their own end of the ice.
They congratulate one another, and so they should. The Vancouver Canucks have kept this thing alive here in the Campbell Conference. The underdogs, each one of the visiting teams wins, and the reaction at the Vancouver bench.
Watch the players. They watch the clock. They also watch the play down in their end of the ice, and you can tell by the players that the game is over.
Well, they just couldn't get it up to speed, these Los Angeles Kings, and dropped game 1 to Vancouver.
Each year, the experts at Car and Driver look at over 100 cars, so you don't have to. From the current new cars, they just picked their 10 best. At the most, you'll probably only buy one of them. That's too bad, because 2 of the 10 best are Mercury's. Mercury Sable and Mercury Tracer LTS. All this in the quality of a Mercury.
Final score, Vancouver 6, Los Angeles 5.
Well, when you look at the shots on goal, Jigs, the Los Angeles Kings with only 3 shots on goal in the third period. That's got to tell you something. Were the Vancouver Canucks that good, or were the Los Angeles Kings taking them for granted?
Well, I got to think that LA kind of gave it away. 6-5, Vancouver wins as we pause for a regional break. You're watching Sports Channel America's exclusive Stanley Cup coverage. The night of surprises. Vancouver defeats Los Angeles 6-5 with a goal late in the third period. Here's the way the game went. Vancouver got off to a 2-0 lead. Dave Capuano and Igor Larionov scoring in the first period. The goal by Capuano at 2:20, then Larionov follows up. LA comes back and ties it on goals from Stanstrom and Kudelski. But then with 20 seconds left in the period, Cordnall, assisted by Ronning, Vancouver leads by a score of 3-2. Big second period for Los Angeles. Wayne Gretzky gets his 90th Stanley Cup playoff goal. Sandstrom assisted. Then Casper gave LA the lead from Donnelly and Kudelski at 6:39. The goals 38 seconds apart. Robitaille from LAK at 14:59, and LA coasting at 5-3. But in the third period, a pair by Jeff Cordnall. And then at 16:29, running from Cordnall and Curvers, as we said throughout the game, all the Vancouver goals from players acquired in a trade with the St. Louis Blues. Shots on goal in the first period were even, 13 by each team. In the second period, Los Angeles 14-11. And in the third, it's Vancouver out shooting the Kings 7-3, 31-30. The total shots on goal favor of the Vancouver Canucks, and the surprise continues as Vancouver defeated the Los Angeles Kings 6-5. The key goal, the winning goal, well, yes, the one that won it. And that fine, fine shot that you'll see from number 7, Cliff Ronning, high slot. Kelly Rudy beaten for the 6th time. That had to be one tremendous feeling for number 7 of the Vancouver Canucks, Cliff Ronning. And Cliff Ronning joins us in our studios. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Cliff, were you surprised at all when you grabbed that puck? I mean, you held it, and nobody seemed to come to you. They kept backing up, give you the blue line.
Well, we had like a bit of a 4-on-2 with Tom Curvers moving up, and I just kept, I guess, pumping the shot, and everyone went to the other guy, so I got to walk in and shoot, and I just was kind of lucky I got it upstairs.
Any surprises other than the fact that, you know, that players like this were backing in, giving you a lot of room? Los Angeles not giving up that many goals in their own rink.
Well, not really, because as you saw Trevor Linden going down the wing pretty hard, and they're scared of him because he's a good goal scorer. He's had 30-something goals this year for their team, and he's been very potent for us. I was just fortunate. Like you say, no one came to me, so I put it upstairs.
What have you found in this division? Forget the playoff game tonight, but since coming over from St. Louis, anything, Cliff, different in this Smythe division?
Well, I'm not. It's tough to say. I think, you know, whenever you go into the Chicago Stadium, it's a lot of dump it in and grind type stuff. But here, guys like to make the good plays, the fast. Maybe if it's anything, it's maybe a little faster hockey. But in the Smythe division, it's a little rougher, I would have to say.
Cliff, could you give us an idea what was the mood of the team when you fell behind? It looked as though things were starting to really roll in the way of the Los Angeles Kings.
I don't know. We just looked around the room and said, hey, we're not even supposed to be here anyway, so we might as well give it a good second effort and show our fans that we care and we try. And we did, and right from the goalie, who played great for us, right on out to Jeff Cordnall, who in my mind was definitely the first star of the game, sparking our team to have a comeback.
Well, again, our congratulations, not only on the winning goal, but coming in here and surprising the Los Angeles Kings. Cliff Ronning with the game winner here tonight. As I say, this night of surprises. Vancouver doesn't seem to be celebrating all that much as they head to the dressing room here at the conclusion of the game.
They will when they get in the dressing room.
Oh, I hope so. We'll be right back. Through the regular season, the Vancouver Canucks were able to win only 10 times on the road. Tonight, the final score, the Canucks 6, the Los Angeles Kings 5, in the opening game of the Smythe Division playoff between these two teams. Cliff Ronning's goal with 3 minutes and 31 seconds left in the third period. This reaction at the Vancouver bench as they held on to win game number 1. Everybody standing. The Kings had pulled their goaltender, and Vancouver had held on to win 6-5. So the Canucks continue the night of surprises, and it will continue on Sports Channel America tomorrow evening. Some of you will see the New Jersey Devils facing off against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh down by a game of that series. Hartford leading Boston will be the other half of our coverage. Check your local listings as Sports Channel America brings you the Stanley Cup playoffs throughout the 1991 run to fame. The final score tonight, the Canucks over the Kings 6-5. Bob Papa coming up with all the details on Sports Nightly and other happenings in the world of sports. For Ed Westfall, I'm Jigs McDonald saying so long from the Great Western Forum.
Bye.